Welcome, my name is Nairi. My previous video on attachment and how children at the ages and stages build attachment was for 0 to 3 months, and now we're going to go for 3 to 6 months. So by this time, the baby, the child, is beginning to be much more aware around them. They're not just looking at that key attachment adult's face, they're looking at things around the room. They are starting to perhaps start to roll over, they're starting to reach out for things, they're starting to notice colour, different people, etc, etc. I'm not an expert in this ages and stages of early childhood, although I do have a degree on early childhood. So what I'm saying is that there are changes, like from the newborn to be held the whole time to a young baby that needs stimulation, chatting to, and that type of thing. So again, looking at in a normal household, then there will be some enjoyment there about realizing that your baby can now hold something in their hand, or they can reach up for something, or they're looking at something, they're trying to touch something, they are noticing sounds around the room and looking around and noticing things about different people. There's normally enjoyment around that when it comes to parenthood. Yes, of course there'll be stress. Yes, of course there'll be times when a parent is tired and really doesn't want to engage in doing anything. But for the most part, most parents enjoy watching the development of their child. But going back to that neglectful and that chaotic house, it is so upsetting to think of such a young child, baby, being in that situation. But what if, just like that newborn baby, that child is still left to their own devices? They're not offered things to hold, they're not offered things to stretch out to, they're not having conversation being carried out that much with them. So communication in our adopted and foster children can be so delayed, and this is the reason why. Because most parents, when they're even with a tiny baby, but especially as the baby becomes more aware, it's starting to have those conversations. I've been watching my son with my grandson, and he's having conversations with him, and he's 4 months old, and he's waiting for the baby to say something back. And of course it's not audible, it's not eligible, it's not understood by anybody, it's gibberish, but he waits and a little sound will come out and then he'll say something back, having that rhythm, having that conversation. But what if that's not happening? What if that young baby is not having that communication, is not having the stimulation, the toys are not appropriate, they're just left, or siblings are taking over and trying to stimulate and do things with the child, and therefore sometimes the levels aren't appropriate they're offering, or the child just gets used to being talked to by the siblings, but the parents nowhere to be seen, and things are getting left undone, nappies are getting left undone, they're waiting long for food, they're waiting for conversation. You get the picture, neglectful, chaotic. And so what is that doing? Well, it's going to slow down speech and language. Even at that very young age, it's going to slow that down. It's also going to mean that that baby is beginning to really solidify the fact that adults are not to be trusted. They cannot be trusted to meet their needs. And so again, the insecure attachment is still developing. Potentially early childhood trauma is developing if in the house there is lots of loud noises, disturbing things that make the baby feel very unsafe. So they may already be experiencing kind of jumpiness. Very, very young babies, newborns, do kind of do this with their arms and flail up a bit. But I'm talking about the fact that, arguing and shouting and slamming of doors, things just going on around them, making them feel unsafe, because attachment primarily is about feeling unsafe. You can see how this early childhood trauma is beginning to take hold, how it's going to get more difficult for this baby to find that one attachment figure. And research tells us that once a baby can attach firmly and securely to one person, then they can begin really good attachments with others, and that's how it works. So yeah, we're talking at ages and stages of attachment and development, and how insecure attachment develops at the different ages and stages. And so next time I hope to look at your 6-month-old to your 1-year-old, and we'll have a look at how that impacts them as well. I hope you're enjoying the series, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you.